Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marvel Plus podcast, a show where we talk to Marvel shows on Disney Plus and how they connect to the MCU. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live every Sunday over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 at 7 p.m. Eastern. You join the chat and all the fun theory talk if you're a subscriber over there. We'd love to have you in on the conversation, but if you can't catch live, that's A-OK. Drops the very next day over on YouTube. Just search Enigma9011. Drops at 12 noon Eastern. You give it a watch, give it a listen over there, and we'd love you for it. Today, we're going to be wrapping up our Miss Marvel talk with episode 6, titled No Normal. Interesting title for this episode. I get it kind of loops in later with dialogue, but interesting. So we're heading into the finale of Miss Marvel. Here's our recap of what has happened. We get a full recap, obviously, of the series prior, all the events that have taken place throughout the past 5 episodes we have watched. But as for the last episode, we left off with Karachi. We had kind of settled everything there. We learned that Kamala was the sparkles for her grandmother Sana when she was lost in order to find her father on the train during partition. Najma and her crew failed at getting home. Back to the Noor, or through the Veil. And Najma died closing the Veil, it seemed, but the power of the Veil transferred into Kamran. Kamran went to Bruno for help. Bruno decided to help him, and Damage Control shows up and shot a missile at the Circle Q, attacking them and destroying the building, but they're fine. So, that's where we were left off, heading into our finale. So we follow up with Damage Control. They're inspecting the Circle Q, obviously looking for Kamran and his powers now. And we'll see Agent Deaver and Barry, who's a new guy, just kind of talking over the situation. We'll follow up with Bruno and Kamran. They're on the train, obviously making a run for it. Kamran seems hurt. I'm not sure if it's just the powers that are affecting him. As far as I know, he doesn't have an injury. But his powers are not controlled. We will see him lose control of the powers on the train a little bit here and there, as Damage Control is going to pursue them on the train. Then we'll get the official opening credits, and Kamala and her mom are back home in Jersey. Woohoo! After their fun little trip. And Kamala decides to make an announcement to her family that she is Nightlight, she has the powers, and everybody's shocked and surprised. Mom already spilt the beans. So everybody's really supportive, which is nice. The brother, the fiance, the dad, all very supportive of her. Dad just hopes, obviously, she'll stay safe, not purposely look for trouble now because she has the powers. Just like, hey, be smart with it and be responsible, but don't feel like you have to go out and now fight crime or look into shady stuff. So, we get a nice moment there, and then we also get Nakia FaceTiming to fill Kamala in on the situation with Bruno and the Q. Alright, Miss Marvel opening. Alright, so now Kamala's in a big panic, calling for Bruno, and apparently Mom has made this big, full 180 turn since the events of Karachi, which, I mean, great, family growth. Apparently she had time to craft a suit now for Kamala, because we will get the costume reveal, and Mom has made it for Kamala. We'll see Kamala using her powers throughout the city, using the stepping stones that we've talked about in the past episodes to go and find our 2 friends of Bruno and Kamran, see where they are, and see if we can get them to safety. Suit looks great. Looks fantastic. So Bruno and Kamran are going to make it to the mosque. They're going to try and, I guess, use that as a safe haven, a house to hide in. And they meet up with Nakia. Nakia says, not the best place to hide here. They're probably going to be really judgy, and we have a sensitive relationship as is. There was a little bit of a content warning at the beginning of this episode, how some scenes would be a little sensitive. I can see now why that was put in place. It wasn't terrible, but then again, I'm white, so I don't think I can fully rein in on that situation. But I get it. Glad they put it in there. It didn't seem like a lot, but smart move just to say, hey, we know this is maybe a tense situation here of like judgment, harassment, etc. So, anyways, originally go to the mosque. Nakia says, no, not a good place here. Recommends the high school because it's empty. It's the weekend. Great. So now we see damage control. They're obviously in pursuit. They do arrive at the mosque and they start questioning people. And funny enough, I guess this is one way to kind of turn the tide, I guess. Everybody's already prepared, like has their IDs ready, very compliant. One guy has cookies, but they are working to stall damage control in order for Bruno and Kamran to obviously escape out to the back alley and make a run for the high school. So, great by that community, obviously helping out them in trouble and holding up damage control. So the two are going to get into the back alley. Kamala will finally arrive. Big hug for Bruno in their reunion here. And we see that Kamran is still struggling with these powers as he starts to pulse out these bursts from his body. And it seems, he claims that he's being crushed from the inside. As these pulses are going out, there's a voice calling out to him. Seems to be his mom calling out to him. Maybe. So we got that. So the three are going to the high school. Some time has passed. It's now nighttime. And Kamala decides, okay, we gotta get some backup here. So she stops and makes a call over to the Red Dagger kid. Sorry, I don't remember his name. Asks for some help from him. He says he knows someone who can get Kamran out of there. Just have him make it to the harbor by midnight and whoosh, they'll get him to safety. Okay, great. Three of them make it to the school. Nakia shows up, just like, hey, all there. Do get a healing moment between Kamala and Nakia there, as Kamala apologizes for not sharing her, her powers and whatnot. Damage control's on top of this. They are outside. They're fully, locking down this pursuit, although slowly, of these guys. And the group decides they're going to make a stand here, and they're going to fight. So like I said, Nakia shows up. Also Zoe shows up. Oh, and also the brother shows up. So we got a full squad here. And then we kind of get into their game plan for how they're going to fend off damage control and try and buy Kamran some time so he can hopefully escape and get out of the situation. This is where, I was already enjoying the finale so far because obviously we're going. This I felt like was a return to the form for the previous episodes, like 1 and 2, the early episodes of as they're making their game plan. It's kind of this montage, the mixture of the art with the chalkboard and the real life stuff. I thought was a return to the style that we had seen early on. That was good. So the whole plan is to stop damage control with softballs and essentially stall. But the real plan is Zoe. Interesting. Why is Zoe the real plan? Well, we won't get to that right now. Damage control's outside. Agent Deaver's on the phone with the Spider-Man cop, which I don't remember his name, so Agent Spider-Man over there. He says this is a bad situation, tells Deaver to back out, don't do this. And Deaver says, okay, hangs up the call, and then calls more units. All right, bitch. So she's very determined in this. Not great. Zoe and Nakia have a little cool moment of just like, why didn't you share about Kamala's powers? And Zoe's very thankful for what Kamala did, saved her life. So, hey, Zoe's cool after being a bitch that first episode. So, that's great. At this point, Kamala's going to kind of share the events of Karachi with Bruno, fill him in, and Bruno says, hey, you do not want to tell Kamran about his mom right now, at least until things calm down. Great. So now, we're going to put the plan into action. Damage control is going to approach the school. They're going to breach. and they have a device set up. The damage control think it's a bomb, but it starts to play music and a disco ball drops, essentially just alerting the hero crew, hey, they're inside, in case that big explosion didn't blow it, like, let you know. This will. So Kamran's gonna bait him, and at this time we learn what Zoe's part of the plan is. She is gonna go live on social media, seemingly Instagram from what I can tell, and is using her, following that she got from the Nightlight event at AvengerCon, and is asking for help. Great. So, she calls out to the public for assistance there in order to help kind of protect Nightlight from this situation, I guess. So, we get to see the rest of the plan in action, as a few of the group are all going to dress in the same outfit, some of the school hoodies, and they're going to use the fire extinguishers that they had gathered to kind of cover their trail, essentially making a haze around to make it a little bit harder to see for damage control to clearly know which one is Kamran and which one is not. So they're all going to be going around, distracting them, leading them all sorts of different ways. As this is going on, we notice damage control has some weaponry. Seems to be some kind of like sonic boom pulse guns. Apparently non-lethal from what Deaver said in her phone call, but at one point like burst a hole into a wall. So you tell me. We'll see the shenanigans go throughout the school a little bit more. Eventually the group is going to get caught slowly. Bruno will get caught, Naki will get caught, the brother and Zoe will all get caught by damage control. So Kamala and Kamran are able to kind of make a little bit of a headway and an escape out of here. Kamala shares the red dagger plan with Kamran. He's not stoked about it because the daggers and clandestines, have a history, and apparently the daggers have been hunting them down. And this is when Kamran kind of picks up, like, hey, where's my mom? Did she die? Whoopsie. Yeah, she did. Isn't too happy about that. A damage control agent will bust in the window where they're chatting. Kamran attempts to hurt the agent, but Kamala will protect them with her powers. The two run. Kamala shares what happens, and they'll have to deal with a whole lot more damage control. So, Kamran will make a run for it on his own, and he's going to not make an attempt. He's going to make a statement or a defense for himself outside, where all the damage control and now a big crowd of civilians has gathered, thanks to Zoe and her social media message, I guess you could say. And then this is where the action really kicks in. Kamran's not happy. He's going blah, 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 shooting out a bunch of bursts. And he seems really aggressive. I don't know if this is just him defending himself or if this is the power taking over. Kamal's going to jump in, create a barrier to protect Kamran from some bullet fire that's coming at him. Eventually, damage control is going to take out a big sonic boom gun, blast them, destroying the barrier. And then Kamala is gonna get huge. Embiggen, she gets huge, she gets tall, and I'm not gonna lie, a little hokey looking. I don't know if this has to deal with all the CGI debate and overworking and stuff that's going on. It was okay, wasn't the best. But Kamala does that, cool to see that. She's using her powers very confidently, whether it's her and the stretching ability, smashing some stuff. At one point, she kind of makes a projection wall to protect herself and then uses that wall and like frisbees it to destroy some stuff. Looks great. And then we'll see Kamran defending himself as well, but once again being a little bit more aggressive with his powers. For example, launching a car at Deaver and then also missing her, and the car almost goes into the crowd. Kamala was able to catch it, defending them. So, in this specific Kamran does seem to feel bad. So like I said, maybe he's just doing it out of fear for his own safety, which understandable. So Kamran's going to make a final stand with Agent Deaver, but starts to pulse again. As he is pulsing, energy, his crystallized form or power, whatever, from the veil, is bursting out in a lot of different directions and creates these bigger structures. Kamala's going to approach him and create a barrier herself around the both of them to kind of stop his power and it growing to attempt to hurt people. So they have a moment in there. There's no normal, just what we do with what we can. Wait, there's no normal, just what we do with what we can. Maybe I misquoted that. Essentially, how we use our powers. Yes, we can't be normal, but how we use our powers will define who we are. Because Kamran's just like, well, nobody's going to be nice to me now based on how the powers and how this whole series of events has gone. But Kamran's going to thank her. She's going to say, get to the harbor. I'll buy you some time. Punches a hole into the ground because magically that makes an entrance and escape. Kamran will thank her once again. Leaves. The structure will dissipate away. Kamala will turn around. And Agent Deaver says for the other agents to get her. However, the crowd is going to bust through the little barriers, the police line that have been made to separate them, and the crowd goes to defend her along with some of the police that were on the scene as well. As they're protecting her, Kamala does make a run for it with the steps above, and we get kind of this closure of success. As Kamala makes the escape, the crowd celebrates, and Deaver will get a call from the Spider-Man agent saying she's relieved of her duty after, not following orders. Let's see. And then we pretty much get into our ending. We get a lot of social media stuff, similar to the callback of the beginning episodes, including a fun one from the Broken Leg Kid, like, oh, I was the beta test for all this. And then we're going to get a nice moment between Kamala and her dad about the powers, about the suit, a name, whatnot. We learn that Kamala apparently is Urdu for Wonder/Marvel, so that's kind of cool how they tied that in. And then we'll get closure between Kamala and her friends. Apparently Kamran's car was left, so Bruno just had it. Bruno talks about going to Caltech, and they're wishing him good luck. And then we get probably the first big knowledge bomb, I guess, or cliffhanger. Bruno earlier in the series had mentioned that he potentially knew what had caused her powers. He said the bangle had awoken something inside her to allow her to do these actions. Obviously the crystallized projections, her stretching, stuff like that. He said there was a connection there. Apparently he had done some research and nobody else in her family can do these things. And it seems that she has a mutation. Okay. So we get that word, that drop. Kamala has no reaction. She's no selling it. And the episode will end after the three decide to go out for shawarma. Call back to Avengers 1. So, mutation. Once again, I don't know a lot about Miss Marvel's powers and how Kamala got them, except for, as far as I know, she got them from Carol Danvers, the original Miss Marvel, in some kind of situation. I don't know if that was the mutation, and like this is more of the tie-in to the original origin of her powers, or if this is another way to tease at the eventual X-Men in the MCU of being like, oh my god, a mutant. We'll have to see. Maybe I should have done a little bit more research before this, but we get the official statement in show of mutation, that word. So we obviously know Disney owns Fox now, so they own the right to those properties like Fantastic Four, like X-Men. So X-Men's coming eventually. It's just a matter of time as to when. Obviously, we saw a little bit in Doctor Strange with Professor Xavier making an appearance. But when do we get the main line? Well, I guess Professor X's main line. But when do we get a Wolverine, a Cyclops, a Phoenix, a Storm, etc., etc., etc.? Just a little bit name drop of the mutation word here is a little glimmer of hope. We'll have to see. But once again, that could be tied into original Powers history. I don't know. So, that's the end of the show there. We will get one post-credit scene here that just has a lot more questions than answers, as most post-credits do. We're going to see Kamala collapse on her bed, seemingly tired from her day. Her bangle is going to start to glow on her wrist. She's going to get up to start to look at it and see what's up. She gets kicked back into her closet door. The door will smash and she will wisp away. Someone else is going to stand up from where she fell. And it's Carol Danvers. Stands up at the closet looking around, seeing all of the memorabilia that obviously Kamala had strewn about her room. Says, uh-oh, this isn't good. And we get a cut to black. We get the announcement that Ms. Marvel will return in The Marvels, another Disney Plus show coming. I'm pretty sure it's a Disney Plus show. Maybe it's a movie. I'll have to look into that. So we get, obviously, confirmation that Kamala will make a return. And now Carol is in Kamala's house. Okay, so the bangle is linked to Carol somehow? No idea what that's about. If this has to tie in once again with their connection of the powers, I guess. But man, that puts Kamala in a very shitty situation. Where was Carol? Obviously, Carol's been flying around, space, saving people left and right. This is a lot for a kid to take in just to get teleported somewhere in the galaxy. Hopefully not flying in space. I would hope her powers allow her to breathe in space, but that would be bad. I doubt that is what's happening. But as far as we know, Kamala can't fly. So how would she travel in space? Whatever planet Carol was on, now she has to deal with that. Now she's stuck on a foreign planet. So yeah. So a lot of questions there. So I guess the question is, did Carol somehow interact with the bangle, imbuing, I don't know if that's the right word, imbuing the powers onto it, or is the mutation referencing the original origins of Kamala's powers? Like I said, might be some research on my part and your part if you want to know more of Kamala Khan's comic book history, her origins, stuff like that. Just kind of understanding that a little bit better. We thought they were taking a different route with it with this show, with the powers being tied to the bangle, but obviously now they're a little bit more open with it being a different interpretation than what we originally thought. So maybe it is more true to form than we originally had thought at the beginning of the series, prior to the first episode, and from what Bruno had inferred from his research in the earlier episodes. But yeah. So how did I think the show was overall? I think this finale was good. I think it was a return to style from what the previous episodes were, of like episode 1 and 2, with like the stylized, the using the art into their storytelling, of like showing the plans and kind of being a little jokey about it and having more of that like fun energy. And this was kind of the big problem I was talking about throughout the series. Like this should have been just damage control against a new super powered human, like them not understanding her powers, thinking she's bad, obviously being defensive, because why wouldn't you be, and her proving her worth and becoming, like, discovering herself. So in this last episode, obviously we did that. The middle portion was rough. Not rough that it was bad per se. I just don't think it was one continuous storyline per se. Obviously, you know, Kamala, the entire time she is growing with her family, whether it's her mom or her grandmother, like, that was consistent throughout the series, and I do appreciate that, because we know, well, at least I know from the limited stuff I have seen with Kamala, her and her dad have an awesome relationship. I don't know about the rest of the family, but family ties with her seem very, very important. So seeing that throughout this series, the 6 episodes, was good. It was the rest where it was kind of like hit or miss. We got a style and, like, a different way to present the show in the first few episodes that I feel the, like, episode 3, 4, 5 kind of strayed away from, and it didn't feel unique, and it didn't feel like it had the same energy as the earlier episodes had. In this last episode, it felt like it returned to form a little bit more. Not fully, I will say, but it was back on the track. The whole Clandestines thing. I get it. We wanted to bring that up to kind of talk about her family's origins, to kind of talk about the powers a little bit. But Najma and her group and Kamran, in the end, it didn't feel like we did a lot with them. We had Najma introduced at the very end of episode 2 in the post-credits, if I'm correct. Hey, I've been looking for you. Great. Episode 3, I need your help. Immediately flips and is a bad guy and becomes super aggressive. Episode 4, they attack. They get taken by damage control. Episode 5, they attack and they die. Not a lot of build. Like, their only motivation was to go home. They didn't, I don't know, maybe it was just me. They didn't feel really important at all, or like a threat. Like, when we left off post-credits at episode 2 with Najma's reveal and, oh, it's my mom, I thought that was going to be something more. And granted, I know I'm going to keep saying this, and I'm sorry to keep, you know, beating a dead horse for lack of a better term. I don't know much about Kamala's comic book history. I don't know if Najma is, like, an actual villain that she deals with in her comic book history and her stuff like that. This felt like it should have been a reveal for, like, oh my god, it's X-villain. And, like, then we build on their backstory. For lack of a better example, this is just the first one that's coming into my head. Like, okay, let's think of Spider-Man No Way Home. Or, sorry, not No Way Home. Spider-Man Homecoming. First Spider-Man with Tom Holland. Obviously, we knew about the Vulture prior. But you get him picking up, I don't remember her name, his date for whatever dance at the finale, right? And then you get that big reveal that, oh, fuck, Vulture's the dad. Like, it felt like it should have been that. Like, a reveal of, like, oh, it's this villain who has this history. And then we could have explored her more afterwards to make her feel like a threat or a problem. Like, I don't know, I feel like there's been a lot of better reveal setups than this one. Even, like, okay, I'm just gonna keep using fucking Spider-Man ones, like Mysterio, okay? Mysterio and Far From Home. Mysterio with Nick Fury, working with Spider-Man. Oh, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah. We know as an audience, most of us, we know as an audience, oh, he's a bad guy. But he's going to play good guy, dealing with all the elemental bullshit dudes, ha, ha, ha. And then as the audience, we see, oh, this was all a trick, blah, blah, blah. And then later on, him and obviously Spider-Man clash, right? That's a build. This had nothing. Hi, I need help going home. Hi, fuck you. You're not doing it within 24 hours. Ha, I'm going to chase after you. And then we get captured. Ha, we found you again. Oh shit, we're dead. Bleh. Just didn't really do anything for me in those episodes. Red Dagger Kid. Sorry, I don't know his name. Another thing that just felt like, yeah. And that was the whole Karachi sequence, I guess, too. Like, we made this big deal of like, oh, Grandma, you saw the train too? Yeah. Okay, come visit. We go visit, and Grandma gives us nothing. Like, no info, no intel, just, yeah, this was my mom. We don't have a lot of things, so I paint for memories. Like, what? Give me intel here. I just flew halfway across the globe to see you. Can we do something with that? No? All right. And the Red Daggers, we met the homeboy, obviously the friend of Kamala. We met his master. The master gave us this 3D map showing us, the audience, like, the two homeworlds paralleling each other or whatever the fuck, because we needed to see that. Then he dies. And then Red Dagger just gave us a scarf, which is part of the outfit, I get. What? A little bit of, like, filler stuff. Maybe not filler is the right word, but if you wanted to go that route, I would have appreciated a little bit more explanation or, like, importance put into that stuff. I feel if we just stayed the damage control route, that could have been better. Granted, how do you stall for 6 episodes like the damage control situation? Maybe you have mini bursts here and there where Kamala's attempting to help and then damage control swoops in thinking she's actually causing harm when she's not and gets into it. Okay. Once again, a Spider-Man parallel. Spider-Man is a menace. Thank you, J. Jonah Jameson. You know, he's got all this bad press. He's apparently this big thing. But what does Spider-Man do? He wins over the city because the city and the civilians see what he's doing, right? That could have been our through line here with Kamala. Kamala's a new power-up, or has a new superpowers, Jesus Christ. New superhuman. You know, people are tentative at first. Obviously, she fucked up with the kid. She did save him in the end, but he did break his leg. Like, there's the flaws. She's learning her power. She's discovering herself. We see some successes. And, like, in the end, it's this big thing where they're really trying to stop her. And then, obviously, this situation where the citizens rally. You could still do that. It was just this middle section. I don't know. Just, meh. It was like 2 stories meshed into one in the 6 episodes. And the second story didn't feel like anything happened. To me. If you got something out of it, great. That's just my opinion. Overall, I talked about it last episode. Aman, I think her name is, the actress for Kamala, nails it. I think it was a great cast there. She's good. I like the kid cast. What am I, 50? 60? I like her friends cast. I think Bruno's a good cast. Naki's a good cast. Zoe we kind of saw here and there. You know, I think they're all great. I think the family's great. I think all those players were good. I think they filled their roles well. It just, that middle section, I don't know, just something about that middle. I was just like, Overall, it was fine. I liked what they attempted early on. I wish they just would have kept up with it instead of going the more, I guess, traditional MCU route of storytelling, or just this blandness in the middle until a little bit of a pickup at the end. I'm excited to see more of Kamala, see where how she grows with her power set, and obviously her confidence in herself and her character. And yeah, in the end, it was okay. It was okay. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing else. This has been another episode of the Marvel Plus podcast, the show where we talk the Marvel shows on Disney Plus and how they connect to the MCU. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. Usually every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. You join the chat and all the fun theory talk. If you're a subscriber over there, would love to have you in on the conversation. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Drops over on YouTube the very next day. Just search Enigma9011 where it drops at 12 noon Eastern. Give it a watch, give it a listen over there, and let us know in the comments what you thought of the show and the episode as it passed. I don't know. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I hope you guys enjoyed Miss Marvel. Obviously, we're going to be taking a little break until the next series. Next one's going to be She-Hulk. We'll have to see how that one plays out. And then, yeah, just keep it tuned here for all your Marvel stuff, more movies, more shows, all the fun shenanigans. Appreciate you guys hanging out, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.